Hello guys, Francis here. So welcome to another episode of our C++ lesson. In this lesson, we're actually going to look at methods and constructors in C++. So let's look at how to create methods and constructors in C++. Methods, from this clear, simple explanation, methods are functions. So it means methods are also functions. Methods are functions that belongs to the class. So we already talked about how to insert your class, and we're saying that methods are functions that belongs to the class. So there are two ways to define functions that belongs to a class. We have the inside class definition and we have the outside class definition. So these are the two major ways of defining functions in C++. In the following example, we are defining a function inside a class, and we are going to name it my method. So what you should notice is that you access methods just like you access method just like you access attributes. So we're going to look at that going forward. So by creating an object of a class and by using the dot syntax, then we are indicating that we are accessing our methods. So let's look at the simple example. We created a method. So in this example, we are creating a method that is defined inside the class. Looking at this here, we've inserted our method and we've inserted our class. This comment explains what we are doing on this line of code. This comment explains that this is our access specifier. So this public here indicates our access specifier. And this line is where we are creating our method or our function, which is defined inside our class. So we will use this return, this void type to insert or to create our method here. And our method is created by inserting this simple line of syntax, my method, with this parenthesis. Then after this parenthesis, we put in the method body. The method body is put in the curly bracket. So we open two curly brackets, and inside the curly brackets, we put in information about our method. And that is what we have done in here. So here, this curly bracket ends the entire body for this class. So this method is inside this class. Then when we come here, we put in this function into main, and we insert our class here by inserting by creating an object for this class. So we use my object syntax here to present the name of the object we are creating. So by calling the method, we use the object to call the method by inserting the name of the object dot method with parentheses, and this is any detail we put within this parentheses is the attributes of the object we are creating. So in this case, we have used a simple example to create a method inside the class. Let's look at another definition whereby we create method outside the class. So remember from here, we said methods are created in two ways. First, inside class definition and outside class definition. And now we talk about method, an example of how to create inside. Here we're going to talk about outside. So defining method outside a class. To define a method outside a class, you have to declare it inside a class and then define it outside a class. So here we should come to this example where we are creating our method inside a class. We brought our method here like we did for the first one, but here we not put in any method body. So here we just created our method by using the void keyword. And when we go here, we are creating function definition outside the class. So with this, we bring the void method and we bring this our class here. We bring our class here over here to indicate that this method is not inside this class. So by using So we follow the scope resolution by using this two dot operators followed by the name of the function. So you realize that here we bring in the class and we indicate these two dot operators, and the name of the function or the method is inserted here. That is the method we created from here. So in creating it outside the class, first of all, you create it in the class and then you bring it out, indicating as this. And you add these two parentheses. Then you add, over here is where you add the method body by opening here two curly brackets, and you put in the information. So the following here is our enter main to initiate our object or to create an object for the class, and we use the object to call the method over here. So this is a simple way to create method inside the class. Now let's look at a simple example from our page. So let's look at a simple example on how to create a method outside. So let's say we don't have anything on this page. So let's look at how we're going to deal with this. So let's take everything off, and so in creating a simple template on C++, first of all, you need to bring your include, and after that you bring in your two curly brackets. In the curly bracket is where you're going to put your IO stream, and after that you put in your using namespace std, all the standards, then you close it with this semicolon. So these are the two simple lines of code that are necessary to start your programming in C++. Then here is where we create our class. So we represent it by using the class keyword, and we use here my class as the name of the class. Then we open here two curly brackets. In those two curly brackets is where we're going to initiate our method. So here we put here public, and we end it with our two dot operators. And now we come here to create our method by using the void keyword, and we use this simple syntax to create the method. So my method, and we put here two open curly brackets, and then we initiate the body of the method. So by initiating the body of the method, it means we need to put in two curly brackets, and inside these two curly brackets is where we are going to write the attributes or the body of the method. And here, so let's bring here cout, and let's put in two less than signs, and let's write in a simple hello world. So this simple line of code, then we terminate it with a semicolon. So this simple line of code is how we create our method. But after creating our method, then we need to call our method by creating an object. So with creating objects, we need to bring here our enter main, int main. Then, so at this point with the int main, then we put in our two curly brackets. Inside this curly bracket is where we are going to put in our objects. So by putting in the object, we need to first of all refer to our class. So my class, so we call our class, and we initiate or name our object. So let's see, use something like my object, like we had in the example. So my object like this, and we call our methods by putting in here the name of the object. So my object dot, then bring in. So realize that this, as soon as we put the dot operator, straight away the editor or the IDE gives us a clear example of it gives us a function which we've created up there already. So it means this is the method we created, and we can just click enter and it gives us. So this is our methods created from here, and we have called it here by initiating this object to give us a clear indication of our object. Now, as we are done here, we are not, you know that you need to initiate here return all. And close it with. Now, so this, it tells us here that there's an error with our line of code with this red line. So what do we do now? So I think we are cool now. So in this case, our line of code for this has ended, but because we've not put in any parameters, if we should run our code, we're going to have none too. So we run our code, this is all we get, and this is how we can create them. So in this tutorials, we actually created a method inside the class by using my method function here to create this method, of which was called here by creating this, by initiating it or calling it with an object. So you can put a simple comment around it to explain how you created a method inside the class. So see you in the next video, where we're going to look at constructors and how we create our constructors. See you soon.